Hi guys. I know it's a surprise that I will start to speak in English. I never spoken in English in my videos. I know that. This will be maybe my first and last video in English. Not because I hate English or I didn't want to entertain English audience. That's not the point. The point of my channel is to empower only Italians customers. Okay, for English audience, for English customers, there's already a lot of channels out there. They're more expert than me in some matters, in other less. You know, we already talk about that. But what I wanted to do today is to talk about some facts and some opinions, okay, about the toy industries and whatever is happening now in this period. And as I always say, I will not put my opinions in this video, as I never done it. My point is always to try to find out the most objective facts and put it into videos. This is because I think that opinion doesn't change anything, doesn't change the world, do not change business, do not change anything, okay? Only facts. So what we're gonna do today? Today we're gonna explore some facts, and then you will decide over those facts who's right, who's wrong, okay? It's up to you. I just put some facts about this situation. So everything started a few times ago where Vala from Valaverse opened a discussion with Legions from Mythic Legions and other companies on the 3POA podcast. And Vala and his friends are a little bit, how can I say that? It's like when you are with your friends and you are overstimulated and sometimes you say things that doesn't mean actually what you said, but you know, okay, you exaggerate something and just for the sake of a joke, for a laugh and things like that, okay? But over the time in this podcast that I sometimes watch just for entertainment, just because I think that Asians, so yeah, I don't call them Americans because Americans are the continent. So I think that it's not correct to call it Americans, but United States is the name of the country. United States of America. So it's Asians. That's the correct name, actually. So I think that Asians never miss a chance to look like idiots. It's a fact for us European. Maybe they do not understand this because they do not have the power to look themselves from the outside, because they do not have a great education about, you know, the rest of the world and things like that. And this is the main fact about what we are talking today. Because actually everything starts with this bias that some of them have, especially Vala, about prices, always prices. So all this drama in toy biz that happens these days are all around prices, okay? So they never miss the point of joking about Hasbro prices that were raised, or Legion, or any other else that they are not Vala, okay? And there is this amazing things that Vala said in this podcast that say, a customer for me or everything, is my family, my brother, etc., etc., etc. Those words are full of hypocrisy, and I will explain why. What the Asians do not understand, I'm sorry for my English, I will ask sorry before if you find that I will say something stupid in your language. Please correct me downstairs. I will be happy to reconsider my phrases and explain it to you better in the comments, but I will try. So, what they do not teach into using school, they do not teach you how actually the multinational companies works, basically. Because they always talk about prices without considering what's behind those prices. Okay, let's start with the simple price. Okay, so Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe, etc. Their royalties. Okay, Black Series, Disney royalties. Marvel Legends, Marvel royalties. G.I. Joe is actually a master EP, so they do not have to pay royalties. As Valaverse, as Mythic Legion, Cosmic Legions, Figura Obscura, as they call it. So, for the Master, let's consider everything from the Master IP, okay? Do not consider Marvel Legends and Black Series. Let's start with the main IP, with the Master IP. It's easier if we start with that. So, let's start with the G.I. Joe, $29 and $99, okay? Let's talk about that, $29 and $99 in Europe. But in USA is $26.99. Okay, so this is the first fact. The difference between Europe and USA is the users consider $26.99 the prices, but actually they have to pay taxes on that. So in different part of USA, they will pay more or less the same prices that we pay in euros, and this is a fact. Okay. So, let's say that Valaverse, okay, they put it some figures to $17 and $99, or even $27.99, okay, you have to put plus taxes. So, it's not the final price, it's plus taxes. But they say, I put more in that. There is more than G.I. Joe, there is more than Marvel, there is more than Black Series. I give you for $26 and $99 this. And just to make sure you understand, I will show you what I'm saying. So, basically, Hasbro for 29 and 99 euros give you this, okay? Pretty decent figure, very beautiful, okay? There's a lot of stuff in here, okay? For $27 and $99 plus taxes, Bobby Vala gave you this. It's full of accessories, etc. $27.99. Let's say that with taxes we go to $29.99. Okay, exactly the same of this, but with more accessory. And now I will show you where the bullshit resides in all of this consideration of stupidity about users talking about international companies. This costs the same in Europe than in USA, but the USA, it's so, let's say, disconnected from reality. They do not understand that these and these are produced in the same exact country, China. Okay, so both of these are produced maybe in the exact same city in China. So let's start with this simple consideration. Let's put that here there is Europe, here there is USA, and here is China. Okay, so China, Europe, USA. China, from here, is shorter to arrive to USA, will come here, and from here to Europe is almost the same distance. Okay, so the logistic is the same, almost the same. Okay, about 12 hours, I think. I have to do some research, but let's say 12 hours just to make it simple and easier. Okay, so everything will be shipped from China with multinational companies, not with Valaverse, because what is happening? Basically, American companies like BBTS, like Monster Force, Action Force, and things like that, they will ship from USA. And this is the most stupid thing to do. This is a tard move. I will not explain what tard means. You know, it's a potato move. Let's say a potato move. Okay? Why? If you have to consider which way it's the cheapest to move, logistically speaking, a massive amount of things, you will need to have the most significantly and advanced logistic shipment companies. And actually, the most advanced are the Chinese, and the most cheapest are the Chinese, and the less taxed logistics is Chinese. For example, from China to Europe, it will cost like $5 per figure. Okay, Let's talk in dollars, so it will more easy for users out there. So for the users out there, with €5 you can move this. Okay, with $5 you can move this. Then it's about €4.10, more or less. So let's say that the margin is still big for the company. Okay. Imagine instead doing the stupid potato move to move all these things into USA and pay the extra taxes for the export from USA to move it to Europe. This is the most potato move because you will not get bigger. Because without the European and Asian market, you're done. Because basically, if it doesn't work in your country, you're done. Okay, and this is what happens the first time that G.I. Joe was made in the '82. Basically, they call it the American Heroes, so it didn't work too long in European countries. So what you need to do today to survive the toy wars is to make everything the more neutral possible. So if everything started in USA and you have to move it from USA to the rest of the world, that's the most potato move you can do it, because you have to find out how many people are in the position to decide to pay for your company, the logistic and the taxes, the export taxes. Because we customer, that Bobby Vala says, oh, the customer is top of the list, is my mom, is my brother. No, it's nothing, because otherwise you should have moved all of your stuff into China to make all the logistic shipped from China, not from USA. That is the most aided country in the world, especially in logistic. DHL almost refuses to move things in USA, just to put a track on this thing, just to put you on track. And not only DHL, it's the most aided country in the world, especially for logistic. So that's why everything that came from USA are taxes more than any other country. I can speak for my country, Italy. They're friends with everyone, and basically the country that pay less taxes of all to ship in Italy is Chinese government. China is the most loved country in Italy, and we have the biggest partnership with China. Italian postal office bought a logistic company in China, just to make you understand. And Italy is the 5th GDP country in the world. So only other 4 countries have the highest GDP than Italy. So we are the 5th most rich country in the world. If you don't believe me, check it on the internet. The GDP in Italy is crazy. Okay, only 4 other countries are more rich than Italy. Actually, France lost it this year. So Italy surpasses even France, that was actually richer than Italy the last year. So, out of all these facts, okay, you have to consider if Bobby Vala words are real or not. Okay, so he started this fight with Legion because of the prices, but Legion, Valaverse, Big Bag Toy Store, and any other company that are not a multi-billion-dollar company actually do not care a shit about their customers, because their customers is the world. And they do not give a shit about the world. They just wanted to surprise Americans and say, Americans, because Canada is in America, Brazil is in America, Argentina is in America, and all the shipments, the cheapest shipments, are only in the American continent. Okay, outside American continent, everything is fucked up, really fucked up. So basically, in Japan, they have to pay 15% plus shipping plus 5% taxes. To ship in Italy, we have to pay 23% taxes on the shipment plus the order This is fucking crazy. So you have to understand that if you order $100 with $60 of shipment, the taxes doesn't go only on the order of 100, it becomes 23% on 160 because you have to calculate even the shipment. This is the legislation, okay? And not only in Italy, this is valid even for Spain, France, Germany, okay? I do not remember if Belgium have the same things. I'm pretty sure Switzerland is the same. It's a little bit less than 23%. It would be like 15% like Germany and things like that. But what I'm referring to is the taxes is order plus shipping, not on the order. Is order plus shipping in all Europe. Obviously, I do not consider UK as Europe because they have different legislation and I don't care how it works in UK. Because UK is punished in Europe and everything that will be shipped from UK to Europe costs more than US shipment to Europe. This is a fact. You can check it. So what Bobby Vala and all the other illiterates out there, they do not consider that Hasbro, okay, bypassed all of these steps. Basically, you can buy every Hasbro figure at the same price of the American price, okay, in all Americas, okay, all the continent, at the same price in Europe, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Asia, okay. This is the point. This is the point why Hasbro care more about its customers than any other company like Valaverse, Legion, etc. This is why Asians are so potato on these matters, because they do not understand what happens outside US. They only care about this small garden, their small garden of 300 million people. The world is 7 billion people, okay? US, even if it's the most rich third world country in the world, there's still only 300 million people. What economics teaches you in university is that if you want to become really rich, if you really want to have the biggest GDP, you have to speak at the biggest audience. So that's why Italy is actually in proportion richer than US. Because if Italy was a country of 300 million people, our GDP will be nonsense, okay? This is what proportion means. Because everything that is produced in Italy talks to a bigger audience than Asians market. Italians invented touchscreen and microchip, okay? Federico Faggin, do not forget that. So, speaking of the biggest audience, speaking about hypocrisy of Valaverse and Bobby Vala, if you really care about your customers, you have to care about what they are about to spend to make an order on your site. This is the fucking biggest lie you tell into this kind of shitty podcast. You do it with the other incompetent and potato podcasters out there. Cause if I made an order on Hasbro Pulse, okay, even if I'm not the premium is 50 euros per year to have all the shipments free, okay? Even if you're not a premium, if you spend $70, 70 euros on the site, you have free shipments in your country. And Hasbro exists in all countries, okay? And for Europe, in Europe, all the storage is in Spain. Okay, so they ship from Spain. Before it was in Germany, but now it's in Spain, but they still have support in every country of Europe. Consider even this, and guaranteed on every shipment, on every item, okay? You have this long support because in Europe it's mandatory to have support for 1 year at least, and then the second year directly with your company. Instead, you know what? Bobby Vala, it's so in love with their customer, they give you only 14 days of support. 14 days. If you do not open this, then remember, this is a collectible, so you're supposed not to open it if you want to make money with this, okay? Because they're not toys, they're not toys, they're collectibles, okay? Even if you want to consider these toys, you only have 14 days. Imagine be so stupid, so liar, okay, to say that the customer is the most important thing for you and you only gave them 14 days of support, while Hasbro, Mattel, Lego, I just don't want even talk about Lego and life support and guarantee for Lego, and that is another league, okay? But Mattel, Hasbro, at least they give you 1 year. Valaverse, 14 days. And I have proof because I have emails. I will try to post it here on one of it. I don't know where I will put it, but I will make sure to put the conversation that I had with the customer support of Valaverse, since the Valaverse, Bobby Vala, cares so much about their customer. Okay. It's so stupid. This conversation is so stupid because I cannot even understand why you will go on YouTube and, shoot all this bullshit. He believes in Psalms. He believes that everything that he said is true. I saw in his eyes, yeah. Or it's a good actor, or it's really a potato, like any other usings out there. Because I cannot understand you can believe those bullshit without understanding the basic economy of a business. Okay. So, returning to the point of prices. So, if you do not understand how prices works, how company works, why you will go on a jihad on other companies that do the same shit that you'll do? Nobody cares a shit of their customers aside big companies. Not because they really care about their customers, but because they know that if they do not care about the customer, they will lose the customers. That is the point of multi-million-dollar companies. And the hypocrisy of these small companies, these small potato companies, that they will use these acting skills to make the customer believes that they really care without explaining they will not pay their affiliates the right amount of money. For example, all the workers for Hasbro in Europe get paid more than the Asian market workers because we have different contracts in Europe. We have different legislation. Here, the workers need more rest. They have to respect a total different laws on the working place. Okay, they cannot surpass the 8 and sometimes 6 hours per day, like in Sweden or in Netherlands, etc. In Italy is 8-hour maximum, even in France and in Germany, but I think that in Spain is less, in Sweden is less, and things like that. Okay, they will not tell you that their workers, if they're female and they get pregnant, they will not get paid while the pregnancy, like in Europe, like Hasbro done in Europe. They will not explain you all these things because they do not want, because they all they want is to make sure that you will understand this propaganda about big bad toy companies that always do the worst things to their customers without making you understand why those prices get raised by €1, $1, without explaining you all the legislation behind, the logistic behind, without explaining you that this will cost $60 in Italy or even more. If you go to Valaverse site and you select only this, because you only want this, and you want this in Italy, you have to pay $45 for this, just for shipments, on you, the lovely customer you care about it. And then I have to pay the taxes on top of this. Not like Hasbro, that pays for you the taxes. Because when this will arrive in Italy, in Spain, it will cost €29.99 in all Europe. Taxes included. This will cost $27.99 plus taxes for me. So more 23% and $45 of shipments. And I have to pay the taxes even on the shipment. Your dearest customer. Fucking potato. This is fucking potato. The face, the courage to go on YouTube and say, I care about customer. You don't care about the shit. This is pure hypocrisy. Going to Legion to say that they raise their prices and they do the same shit that you do than any other company, like even this shitty company, this BBTS, Big Bad Toy Store, Big Bad Toy, yeah. This shit will cost almost €100 in Europe, okay? So don't say that Hasbro is the big bad toy company. Because the worst company in the world are the independent companies that do all this. They put all these shows about, oh, Hasbro, Mattel, they're big shitty companies that don't care about customer. They fucking care more about their customer than you, stupid potato. Because they made possible that this will cost $29 in Italy, in Europe, in general, in Asia, in Japan. Do the math. Do the fucking math. Go back to school. This is the point. Go back to school and learn. Learn about the other countries. Learn about logistics. Learn about business model. Don't talk shit about companies that try to make the same price for every fucking country. Do not believe to these stupid people. Do not believe a word of them. Because they're just actors. They just want more for them. They just want to do propaganda for the ASEAN's customers, because they are the most stupid customers in the world. They buy Mafex, Bandai, the most shittiest companies in the world. They think that companies are, oh my god, they're so beautiful, they're shit. They're literally shit. If you follow my reviews, you see that I expose those companies. I expose those companies since the day one. I showed you why they're shitty companies, why they're frauds. They made frauds. They sell you shit, plastic, deteriorate plastic, while I supported the production of Mythic Legions, Valaverse, even BBTS, but do not talk shit about prices. Never say in front of me, I care about customers, because this shit costs more than Mafex in Europe. So you don't care about customers. And stop saying this shit. Thank you.